Can obsession lead to unhealthy lifestyle or unhealthy habits? Can it lead to unhealthy habits? Is obsession is that bad? Why are we so obsessed? Let us understand why all of this happens. Obsession can be good and can be bad, but 99%, not everyone has a good obsession. They still have something really bad. I wouldn't say 99, I would say somewhere around 60 to 70% of the world's population that the obsession can turn really bad, especially in this age of 2021, the 21st century. But can we do something about it? And how does it begin? Let us understand this first. Consider that you want to achieve a goal in your life. And if you want to achieve a goal in your life, what do? You'll plan things accordingly. And you start doing things on your own. You'll do everything in your power to make this happen. And this can get really pretty, you might get good results or you might get not so good results. But as you keep working on your goals and you come to the point, you've reached a stage where it's a judgment day for you, whether it's going to be a profitable or it's going to be a total disaster. You come to know that point where you've reached to that stage. And then when you see that it's not giving you what it's supposed to be, either you're going to back out or you're going to step back a bit and you're going to reevaluate, you're going to think you're going to do something about it, or you'll continue to do what you're doing. No, I'll keep pushing. And that keep pushing turns into an obsession. Notice there is a very thin line between achieving your goals and turning that goal into an obsession. Very thin line. And when you reach to that point where you're obsessed, then what happens? Your mind says, don't do it. Stop it. Don't go further. You won't get anything out of this. You need to stop this. Then what do? You will not listen to your intellectual mind, and you will not even listen to what your consciousness, your higher consciousness is telling you. Instead of not doing this, what you do is you try to shut down your thinking process. Excuse me. I was just trying to clear my airway. You don't listen to your thinking process. You shut it down by coping mechanism, by listening to your senses, and your senses will tell you drink, smoke, take drugs, or eat something which is pretty much unhealthy for your body. So these are the coping mechanisms. What happens is when you try to shut your brain down, you tend to stop it from thinking. This is very bad. Our nature is built in such a way that you cannot stop the thinking process. Only the death can stop the thinking process. But because when these chemicals, they go in, they shut the process of thinking and they increase the level of, sense gratification, which means You're only feeding your senses when you're obsessed. Extremely high obsession, where you've been drinking, smoking, uh, eating unhealthy things, or even drug addict, or even gambling, or involved in uh, sexual activities or sex addictions. These are the coping mechanism of obsession, especially when it comes to money. It comes to a career, dream goals, or you know, uh, even when it comes to maintaining our status. When we achieve a level of status in a society, we want to, keep it up to that mark. So that turns into an obsession. So these are very unhealthy way, and you should try to avoid these kind of obsession. But then, if the body doesn't listen to the mind, then the senses are going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. And the senses only understand the language of, satisfaction and nothing else. And it really, really hurt us a lot. I have a live example, a living example where I was the witness, and I feel really terribly sad about it when I'm talking about it. Is when I was in 2010, I used to take a painkiller, which was prescribed by an orthopedic surgeon. I had some pain in my back, and they said, "Okay, take this medicine." Excuse me. And so when I took this medicine in 2010, I suffered a heart attack. It was a tablet reaction, and I was in the ICU. I remember during those days, the next day when I woke up, I saw one patient entered in the ICU. They brought her in, and this woman was, uh, overweight. She was not pretty doing good with herself. And then when she was in the ICU, uh, they made her settle down, and then they gave her all kinds of injections and all the other things. And after, like, I see that after an hour, she started to, uh, be rebellious. Like, I want to get out of here, and I'm feeling hungry. I want to eat. I want to eat. And they were not feeding her anything until the doctor in the end said, "Okay, bring her some soup. She'll feel better." She was she denied the soup. She wanted to eat something which was pretty much unhealthy for her body. She had gained a lot of weight because of eating that food, that type of food. And the doctor was against that food. "No, we can't feed you this." Until that one of a family member was brought in to make her understand that please don't eat. You should drink your soup. That man simply, somehow made her drink that soup. But after 45 minutes, she started doing the same thing. She was in a terrible condition. She was on, she was breathing from the oxygen, not from her lungs, but by taking oxygen. Like when you can breathe normal, you don't require oxygen. But when you require oxygen, it helps for lungs to function well. So she was on oxygen, and still she wanted to eat all of that. Her vital signs were not even good. And this talks about obsession, where even at the dying stage, you still want to, feed your senses. I was, shifted to the ward, and I don't know what happened after that to that lady, but I felt really bad. It really hurt me that even at the stage in the ICU where they're giving you medicines and you're on oxygen, you've been monitored. Your uh, your heart rate and your oxygen level, your blood oxygen, your BP, it's all been monitored, and you still want to eat it. It's not a good sign. It just breaks my heart to see that how people, when it turns into an obsession and they die. It is very bad. Being a Vaishnav, as a human, we have a compassion towards human and animals, and we cannot see someone dying like this. And so, even when the Bhagavad Gita talks about this as well, that how, obsession can turn into a disaster. Bhagavad Gita is saying this, chapter 16, text 11 to 12. It says, Chintam aparimena meyam cha pralayantam upashata kamopabhogaya parama ivatattariti nishata ashapasha shatir pada kamakrodha parayana ihanti kama bhogartam anyayantara sanchayatan. What does this mean? They believe that to gratify the senses unto the end of the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus there is no end to their annexity, being bound by hundreds and thousands of desires, by lust and anger. They secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. This is the example of when the human mind has turned into an obsession. Look at how it says, to gratify the senses unto the end of the prime necessity of human civilization. What was the example I said right now? That woman who was in the ICU, she knew that she was not in a good condition. Her vital signs were even not so good. And she was living on oxygen. She still wanted to satisfy the senses. No, I'm hungry. What she wants something which is not good for her body. She was demanding lamb. There was a type of lamb they make which is extremely unhealthy, which is filled with clarified butter and a lot of spices goes into it. And it's pretty much unhealthy for the body, especially when you're in the ICU. And she was demanding that food, that type of food, that she wanted to keep eating it. It is not good. So you can understand by this verse that the lady who's sitting in the ICU, who is almost, not in a good condition, but she wanted to satisfy the senses. She wanted to eat. Instead of accepting the soup, she still wanted to eat something which was unhealthy. It's really hard to accept, isn't it? Even in 21st century, what is happening in 21st century? I have the evidence here that, in 21st century, it's all about, selfies. I'll take my pictures. I'll take as many as I want. I'll keep taking. And so what has happened here is the number of ADHD or AAD has increased in today's world, in kids. I'm talking about kids as well. What is ADHD? ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or simply AD, attention deficit disorder. ADHD, AAD in kids. Why it happens is because of the lack of focus during work, or a tendency to interrupt others during a conversation. And the causes was linked to overexposed to modern gadgets. Huge overload of information, typically from internet. This is really sad. How many of us selfie, even when they want to make something on YouTube. Is this advisable? Think about it. Why should our kids suffer because of this modern gadgets? Why? Why can't we restrict our kids that you should not use too much of these gadgets? Instead of that, focus on your studies, your you know, your sports, whatever you like to do. Go out there, play sports. Instead of that, you can help them in introducing to yoga, meditation. These are good habits. But when it turns into an obsession, how many kids develop this ADHD and AAD? They cannot even focus on their studies. All they do is they keep clicking, taking pictures, and they're making videos, and they're uploading on YouTube, thinking that this is life. It is not a good thing. Please understand this. Obsession, even to kids, happens, and it can turn into really bad habit. You have to recognize when your kids, all of these things that they do, it turns into an obsession, especially when they play PS5 these days. How many of them are obsessing over PS5? It is not a good thing. PlayStation 5 is not a good thing. And when it turns into an obsession, they're not going to even listen to their parents. And if you take it from them, then they'll become rebellious. I want it. No, I'm not going to eat food. You have to give me. This is obsession. And what is that obsession that turns into them into all of this is because they'll avoid everything, but they'll only do that one thing. This is the sign of obsession. And they'll turn into unhealthy habits. They'll eat chips. They won't eat food that you've cooked at home. They'll have, sodas like Pepsi or, all the other things, the Sprite or whatever that's in the market available. They'll avoid drinking healthy things such as milk or something like juice or fruit, eating fruits. They'll avoid all of this. They'll avoid eating vegetables. All kinds of unhealthy habits will start to develop when they're obsessing over one thing. They'll even forget about their studies. So you need to understand, please, obsession is very bad. Learn to read signs. Even when you're trying to achieve goals, you've reached a stage where you know you cannot achieve it. Step back and listen to yourself. Bhagavad Gita is saying that the ultimate goal of prime life is to sense gratification. Obsession leads to sense gratification. It is the fact that you only want to satisfy your senses, and that's it. That is the only your business. No intellectual, no intelligence. So when you reach this stage of your goal, that you know that you cannot do much on this, then be a wise man and step back, and then reevaluate and wait for the right time to start all over again. As simple as that. Because the life, the course of action is purely based on patience. How can I say that? Imagine the tree. The tree doesn't grow overnight. It takes time to grow. Imagine a human body from a child to adult. It takes time. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. If you want to achieve your goal, if you're getting a result, then wait. It is a sign from the human, from God, that we should learn to have patience. Even when you cook food, can you cook food in minutes? No. If you're preparing something like a curry base, it will take at least 45 minutes to 1 hour. It won't take 10 minutes. It takes at least 45 to 1 hour to cook a curry-based vegetable or lentil. It won't take you less than that. This is the fact that everything that you do requires patience. It is the sign from the nature, from our body, from God, from the Bible, from the Gita. Patience, patience. When you study, you cannot jump from first grade to 10th grade in just 1 year. It takes 10 years. It means to build up something, you still require a lot of patience. It won't come overnight. So it is my humble request that build patience, understand yourself, understand your life. Please have patience, understand the signs. When it is turning into an obsession, you will develop unhealthy habits. Read the signs, understand it, how it is turning into an obsession. Please listen to your higher self. Please listen to the others' advices. Protect your children from ADHD and AAD. Read the signs, how it's turning into an obsession. And then you have to gradually take those things away from your children and not just completely take it off. Slowly, step by step, take them away from it. Introduce to different things, new ideas. And if it's not helping, then please seek counseling. It is very important, or a child specialist who are pretty much into ADHD and AD, who also treats maybe autism or other things as well. But still, uh, if you can't do it, then seek help before it's too late for the child to come out of it. You have to take the initiate step. You have to let them allow to use it to the minimum use of their selfies or playing PS5 or requiring a lot of knowledge from YouTube or uh, Facebook or Instagram, whatever they're into. You have to make them use limited use of all of this. That is all I wanted to say. God bless you all, and may you have an abundant, sweet life. Your mental health is important to you and your family, and you should love yourself, love your family, and love everything around you. Happy, caring, loving hearts. Thank you.